Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder. Today we're diving into a report from Luminar Technologies, a company working on LiDAR technology, which is like radar but uses light. Are they shining bright or is their future a little blurry? We'll find out in this video. The big news is that Luminar held their annual meeting and the results are interesting. Stockholders voted on several key proposals and the outcomes could steer the company's direction in the coming years. Let's break down what happened and what it means for Luminar. Before we start, if you appreciate getting straight insights from corporate documents, make sure you're subscribed. We also have a Discord community linked in the description below. Join us there to talk more about these topics. Alright, so first off, this report covers the date of the annual meeting, which was July 3, 2025. This is important because all the decisions we're about to discuss were made on this day. One of the key items on the agenda was an amendment to Luminar's stock plan, which is officially called the 20 Equity Incentive Plan. Stockholders approved an increase in the number of shares available for this plan. Basically, this means Luminar now has the option to give out more stock to its employees, executives, or whoever they want to incentivize. This can be a powerful tool to attract and retain talent, but it also dilutes the value of existing shares. So, like with most things, it's a bit of a balancing act. Moving on to the meeting itself, there were several important votes. Let's look at their annual meeting. 3 directors were elected to the board: Alec Gores, Matthew Simoncini, and Daniel Tempesta. What's interesting here is how the votes panned out. While all 3 were elected, the vote tallies for Matthew Simoncini and Daniel Tempesta show a significant number of votes being withheld. This could indicate some level of shareholder dissatisfaction or concern regarding these nominees. It is important to note that Alec Gores got 53 million votes for him, but Simoncini and Tempesta only got about 5 million, which shows concerns. If a lot of people withhold votes, meaning that they get less votes for than the other options, that could mean the executives that are with the company probably want to promote them for some reason. But the shareholders aren't too happy million votes for him, but Simoncini and Tempesta only got about 5 million, which shows concerns. If a lot of people withhold votes, meaning that they get less votes for than the other options, that could mean the executives that are with the company probably want to promote them for some reason, but the shareholders aren't too happy. Next up, the stockholders ratified the appointment of KPMG as the company's accounting firm. This is a pretty standard procedure and the vote was overwhelmingly in favor. Having a trusted accounting firm is super important because it helps ensure their financial statements are believable. Now, this is where things get a little spicy. The stockholders did not approve the compensation for the executives. In other words, most of the shareholders weren't happy about how much the top dogs are getting paid. That is a big no-no. The vote against this says the shareholders disapprove, and there will probably be changes to compensation in the next period. Shareholders approved the issuance of shares related to a financing agreement, and this move is not generally done unless you have to. The company is saying, okay, we need a big bag of money, and the only way to do that is by diluting our own stock and giving away shares. Think of it as selling a piece of the company to raise cash so they can actually continue to go on. The fact that they were almost forced to approve the issuance of shares is usually not a good thing for investors or for the perception of the company. Finally, the amendment to the stock plan that we mentioned earlier was approved. This gives the company more flexibility in how they reward employees, but remember, it also means existing shares get a little less valuable. Okay, so that sums up the key takeaways from the annual meeting. Exo, what does all of this mean for Luminar? Well, the election of directors and the ratification of the accounting firm are pretty standard stuff. The real story here is the executive compensation vote. The high number of votes against the executives' pay suggests that shareholders aren't thrilled with the company's performance relative to what the executives are making. That says the shareholders disapprove and there will probably be changes to compensation in the next period. You should expect to see some changes to compensation in order to appease the shareholder. Otherwise, you risk getting fired by not performing well, and also your investors don't like you. Usually you want your investors to like you so you don't get fired. The issuance of shares under the financing agreement can also be a cause for concern. Usually done if the company needs money. Now let's step back and look at the bigger picture. Luminar Technologies is in a rapidly evolving industry. They're competing with other companies to develop LiDAR technology for autonomous vehicles and other applications. What are Luminar's strengths? They've got some big partnerships with major car manufacturers. They are first to market, meaning that they are the first ones to make LiDAR technology. On the other hand, they are running out of money and have to do the Series A convertible preferred stock financing. So what that means is somebody may be a little concerned that they may not be able to make their business sustainable into the future. Maybe they're burning too much cash. Alright, that's our breakdown of Luminar Technologies' latest report. What's your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time.